fellow viewers, you're welcome to the Edfields podcast. This year, I believe that we would have very interesting legal topics, hopefully to educate you on the way to go. To kick off this season, we will discuss a topic relating to marriage and the law of marriages in Ghana. Now, marriages in Ghana is not just a cultural or religious institution, it has legal implications that affect rights and obligations. With me today to discuss this very important topic on marriages, I have a host of legal brains to delve into this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Beatrice, Prince, and Eunice.
Hello, Jasmine.
And hopefully, we can answer a lot of the questions bothering your mind. Now, Prince, if you can tell us, what is marriage in the Ghanaian setting and what are the various types of marriages we have?
All right. Jasmine, thank you. This question is very important because people construe marriage to be the popping. You just go to the church, they take the veil off, and then you may kiss your bride, and then yeah, that's it. But people don't know that sometimes even marriages start before those ceremonies. Those are formal ceremonies or formal celebrations, but marriage itself is a union between a man and a woman who have agreed to be husband and wife. Now, the marriage itself has to do with that consent that has been given by the two people to live as husband and wife. That is why we say that it is a special form of contract between two people. So, as far as our legal framework is concerned, in Ghana, marriage is between a man and a woman. So, if you are not in Ghana and you disagree, you can have your own opinion. But here, it's between a man and a woman. That's the first thing. The second thing is that in Ghana, there are 3 different ways of getting married. The first is where you marry under customary law. That is what normally we call a fiaware. People don't even know that what they refer to as engagement is marriage. So say, we've done our engagement. We are waiting to do the wedding. And then you ask further questions. Say, oh, me, I'm not married yet. We just did the engagement. You just don't know that you are married. When you do the Ife Aware, it is complete when, 1, you've done the knocking. That's the formal one. You've done the knocking. They've given you a list, the list of gifts you're supposed to present. You present them, and then the parents or the family of the woman say that take her to your house as your wife. That is complete and acceptable, recognized by the law as a complete marriage. So when you go ahead to sign at the district assembly, or what they say to sign in court, well, I've not seen anyone signing in court anyway, but that's how they will understand it. Or you go to church for a recognized church, a registered reverend minister to assist you or officiate the marriage, and you sign the certificate. That wedding, what it means is that you have converted your customary law marriage that you did as a fiaware into what we call a Christian marriage. It is under a law called Cap 127, and it's under Part 3. We, the lawyers, we say Part 3 marriage. So that is what people say, ordinance marriage. But the law used to be called Marriage Ordinance. Now it's Marriages Act. And it has all the 3 forms I'm talking about. So if you say ordinance marriage to a lawyer, it may be different or a little bit confusing. But that is the Christian marriage, and that's one. So when you convert to the Christian marriage, when you do the wedding and you sign and all those things, then we say that you've converted to the second type of marriage called Christian marriage. The third one is the Mohammedan. And the Muhammadan marriage is contracted by people who are in the Islamic faith. Their laws recognize men as people who can marry up to 4. And it is also in our laws. The only thing you are supposed to do is when you contract the marriage, you register. So those are the 3 ways of getting married in Ghana. That aside, you remember that I said there were 3, and the first one is the customary law marriage.
Yes.
The customary law marriage is also divided into 2. The first is the formal way. You see a woman, you propose to the person, says, come and see my family. You go to the family, they say, oh, you are knocking. That means you are still not in the family. You are knocking at the door for someone to come and open, and then you enter. You go and ask if she is available. She is available for marriage. You say yes. What can I do to marry her? They say, bring this, bring 3 goats, 1 sheep, 1 jeep, all those things. You bring them and say, okay, take her away as your wife. That is the formal type. The other type is what we call informal customary law marriage, which people even don't know. There are situations where you are construed or you are seen in the eyes of the law as a married person, but you don't know that you are married. Because you are thinking that you've not presented the formal drinks and all those things, so you are not married. You are. There are 4 types of that. The first one, which is a very funny one, and prevalent in our community, is where you hear that someone has impregnated a woman.
Interesting.
And then he says that I won't hide. I'm a man. And then he goes to the house and says that I am responsible. That's what we say, acknowledgement of authorship.
Okay.
Yes. You go there and then you say that I did it. Some families will take what we call kwasiabunsa. It means you were supposed to come and then get the woman formally. You didn't do that. So you've disrespected them. They take some money. And then they say that we recognize you as the author of that pregnancy. And then you see that the woman will come and live with you with the consent of the parents. You should remember that no knocking was done. No bride price has been paid. But you are living with the man, and wherever he goes, he say, oh, that's my wife. Or, oh, this is... Those who have the children, they are afraid of saying that's my wife. They say, oh, that's it. You should know that in the eyes of the law, you are married. But it's under informal customary law marriage. That's the first one. The second one is where you have impregnated the person. I'm saying you have, because I'm a man, and I'm saying it like for the men. And then you go and acknowledge authorship. Later, you go and present a second drink. You didn't go through the formal one, but you've gotten married because after you acknowledge authorship, you went back to present a drink, suggesting that now you want to marry her. That is an informal customary law marriage. If anything happens, she's your wife or he's your husband. The third one is where this time around, it is not necessarily about pregnancy. The 2 people were, say, boyfriend and girlfriend. The wife is married to another man, but she doesn't want to go and live with the husband. So you, the boyfriend or the side man or side boy, you decide that the bride price and all the monies the husband paid to contract that marriage with the woman, you will refund. Okay. So instead of giving that money as bride price to the family of the woman, you, in concert with the family of the woman, present that whole sum to the husband. So you don't pay 2 things. What you would have paid as bride price, you pay it to the man. So it's like football transfer from Chelsea to Manchester. You pay. So you pay, and then the person goes.
Takes over.
Yes. So it's like you've changed baton.
Okay.
And the person it's gone. So those are some of the
That's very
informal
interesting.
customary law marriages that people have contracted, but they don't know
They
that they
don't
are
know
married.
they're married.
Yes. So yes, that is marriage in Ghana.
That's a beautiful
But
insight.
just to add
Yes.
to what Prince said concerning the ordinance marriage, I think a point that people have to also consider is the voluntary nature of it. So you can't compel someone. So people can agree to get married, all right, and all the elements will be present. But if the voluntary aspect of it is not present, then it won't be deemed to be a marriage proper, because we find in our society sometimes people are betrothed without their consent, and people are compelled to marry people when the person willingly did not agree to it. So it's an aspect that we should also consider. So
Right. Beatrice, when Prince was speaking, he used the word registration. At least we know that with what he referred to as part 3, the marriage ordinance, there is a straightforward registration. What if you have a pure customary marriage, or even he spoke about the Mohammedan marriage, which needs registration? What if you go in for that? What is the importance of registration of a customary marriage? Why would I have to register my customary marriage if all the elements present have been done and I'm married customarily? And why do I have to register a Mohammedan marriage?
Okay, so we know that in our society, most of the times, people, what we call the engagement, people will not register it. So once the drinks are presented and all the ceremonies are conducted, then we say that, okay, they are married, and so that's it. Well, if you look at the law, you realize that, well, there are times that they say that we should register the customary marriages. There is a debate. If I don't register it, what happens? What do I get even if I register it? So this is it. You register the customary marriages just to have some sort of legal backing to it.
Evidence.
Yes, some evidence to it that, oh, I am married. Because we realize that when people get married customarily and then they want to divorce, people say that, most of the men will say, but it was just a customary marriage. It was nothing. They don't think that there's anything to it. It was just a customary marriage. So if I want to divorce you, then I just present the drinks back to your family, and then that's it. It's dissolved. We don't have anything to do with each other. But if you register it, then the law recognizes it, that you are married. And therefore, if there is some misunderstanding, there's something going on, you can take it back to the court and say that, listen, I am married to this person. We didn't go to do the pimp-popping that Prince referred to. We didn't do the white wedding, but we are married and the law recognizes it. And so there are some benefits that must accrue to me.
Oh, so in essence, you're saying that the registration of the customary marriage is sort of a protection.
yeah.
That's right.
For whoever is married to go back to the law to seek some remedies or whatever.
That's right.
I see. Chris, you want to say something?
Yes. You see, she mentioned that there's a debate. Yes. And we the men are also thinking that we are fortified by the law, right? Where you see, the law uses may. You may register,
yeah.
which means I can decide not to register.
Yes.
So when you register a customary law marriage, it doesn't convert it.
Okay.
It's not a conversion. It is still a customary law marriage. Remember, in Ghana, customary law marriage empowers a man to marry as many as his shoulders can carry. So what it means is that if you have a customary law marriage that is registered, it does not make it a monogamous marriage.
Okay.
You can, of course, go to court for all the things that you want to have when you are seeking divorce and all that. However, the registration only adds one thing to your marriage: evidence.
That's just
Because most of the customary law marriages are done between the family. They don't invite anyone to come and witness. some people, I have a friend, when he was getting married, he took his mother and the father, they went to meet the woman's father and mother in their hall. That's it. There is no person who is neutral enough to say, oh, I was there when they were getting married. So it is to prevent the situation where he says that, me worry, you say, what worry me? What is your evidence? My father and my mother were there. Your mother would never say that it is not true because it will be a disgrace. Your daughter has been with someone for a long time and now you are saying that she's not married and all those things. Yes. So just evidence. So we will fight and protect our right that
But Prince, I don't know. I'm still coming back to you. I want you to
Just can I come in?
Yes.
You know, like what he said. If his friend took his parents and the girl's parents also came, so let's say in a situation where both parents are dead, who was there?
exactly.
Who was there to say,
there? So
I
they are no
witnessed? So
witness.
yes. So it's very easy for one person to be bullied. Yeah.
Yes, great. So Prince, I still want to. I still want you to address
Because I
this.
said we will fight.
Oh yes, yes, but it may not necessarily deal with that.
Yeah.
But maybe this will make you happy. Customary marriage.
Yeah.
You explained the difference between Mohammedan, that the man is allowed to marry a maximum of 4 wives. Am I right?
Yes.
Customary marriage. How many women are you allowed to marry? And what is the implication for converting a customary marriage to a part 3, as you referred,
Yeah.
marriage ordinance, where that customary marriage has so many women involved? I think you should clarify that.
Yes. So when you contract customary law marriage, it is what we call potentially polygamous. What it means is that at the time you have one, so potentially it can be 2 wives.
He can have 10.
50.
Wow.
You
They
can
can
marry
take care
as
of
many
them.
as. Oh, see, we are the descendants of Solomon.
Wow.
And when you trace the historical antecedents of marriages in Ghana, you realize that before the Supreme Court ordinance or whatever in the 1884 and whatever, we had our customary law marriage system that was working. Our great-great-grandmothers and fathers understood that the men could marry as many as they could afford or they could take care of. Because then a man was deemed to be the one who is supposed to take care of the women. So anytime he had the means, he could marry as many as he could. The new law has not erased that. I don't want to call it right. I don't. People would think that I want to marry more. Yes, that particular law has not been erased or taken away. It is still there. So as a man, you can marry as many as you can. And that is being polygamous.
Okay.
Ghana, we don't encourage a situation where a woman is marrying more men.
That's so unfair, isn't
Very
it?
unfair.
Because ordinarily, if the woman has the means, she should also be able to.
Exactly.
Because she can take care of the men.
Yes, if it turns out that the woman is a breadwinner, she should be able to marry more.
Like I harmoniously pretend.
So you see, I've been told that some part of India they encourage women marrying more. That's what is called polyandry.
Polyandry.
Okay.
Yes, but we don't encourage polyandry. We encourage polygyny, where a man is marrying more. I am advocating for a new marriages act.
Okay.
Maybe when they start the processes and they are recommending that people should put in memos.
You could
Can put it
recommend
in that
that.
they should allow the me. I won't do it.
The world is likely to be a beautiful place.
Yes, where a woman is marrying more. So that is it about the first part of your question. The second part as to the conversion. You see, when you convert from customary law marriage to a Christian marriage or part 3 marriage or the monogamous marriage, what it means is that the customary law marriage is dead. So you can't say that you've gone to court to cancel it and so you've come back to the customary law marriage. If you go to court to cancel it, the marriage is dead. Everything is gone. That's the first thing. The second thing is that immediately you convert, you can't just say that me de won samba. You go and give the man's drink to him and say that I am divorced. You can't also go to the woman's family and say that I'm coming for my drink. And so we are divorced. You cannot do that because you contracted the marriage under the law and the seal of government is on it as monogamous. So you have to go back to court for court to say that I have dissolved the marriage. But if you have not converted and you still have the potentially polygamous marriage, which is the customary law marriage, if you don't want to marry again, you go straight to the woman's family or you go straight to the man's family. You tell them why you don't want to marry again. If it's the woman, you go and give the drink back. If it's the man, you go and take your drink back and he ceases. Unless maybe there are discussions that you're supposed to pay alimony. That is what in Akan says sumobano. Because the law says that you can't introduce a person to a certain taste of life, and because you don't want to do it again, you say that come back to zero. No, it won't happen. So that is the only difference. And so they are just deceiving us that if you don't marry under the ordinance, if you don't register in court, see, when there's divorce, you won't get anything. It's not true. It is not. Whatever a person who went through only engagement is supposed to get is the same as a person who wore the veil, they took it off, they called her a bride, and there was a car pumping. You're the same. You're all wives.
You're all wives.
So that's the only
Okay,
thing.
so I want us to move to the rights and obligations in a marriage, but Beatrice, I just want you to clarify this. So, still customary marriage. A man has 10 wives. He decides to convert to Part 3, marriage ordinance. Tell me, what happens?
Okay, so
Is it possible?
yes, it is
And
possible.
what's the consequence of that?
Okay, so this is what the law says. If a man has means and has like 10 wives, but decides one day that, listen, I want to convert it into a Part 3 marriage, this is what the man has to do. The man will now have to divorce the 9 wives.
Interesting.
Yes. And then convert and choose whoever is a favorite.
Choose a favorite.
and then convert that one into a Part 3 marriage.
And the others are sent back home.
And the others are said, unfortunately, because the man cannot keep all of them and decide that, listen, this is my favorite, so I am going to convert just that one into an ordinance
Because
marriage.
Part 3 is just one man, one
wife. Yes, one man, one wife. Exactly. Yes. So that's what the person has to do. The person cannot keep all the women.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Eunice, let's go into the rights and obligations in a marriage. Just tell us what is expected of anyone who is in a marriage.
Okay, so just as Prince initially stated, we have different forms of marriage. The ordinance, Mohammedan, then customary. So depending on the type too as well. So let's say for the ordinance marriage, so basically for a man and a woman, for marriage, you have rights and obligations that you are supposed to perform under the marriage. So let's say for a woman, you know that there are certain things that you can't deprive your man of, or even for a man. So let's say intimacy and all those things. And even with that, if it happens that someone, let's say a man, deprives the woman from having such intimacy with the man or performing her marital obligations, the man is entitled to come under the law to sue an action called seduction. So basically it has to do with immorality. So let's say you are with a man and a woman are married, and the woman is seen to be engaging in sexual immorality with another person. then the man is entitled to sue under seduction,
Mm.
which is the other man, to sue the other man under seduction. And the man will be entitled to damages and compensation.
Yeah, I won't do it. You go to court while you here. Someone is sleeping with my wife. I'm coming for money.
You take the money.
No, I won't do it.
You will do it.
I won't go to court.
We also have what we call enticement too. So let's say, I know Prince is married, but for now, okay, Beatrice and Prince are married.
And
let's
including
say-
myself.
including
So who
yourself.
understand? Yes.
And another man is preventing Beatrice from performing her marital obligations.
Interesting.
So let's say cooking, sleeping in the house, washing, and all those things. You can also sue that man for enticement. But the issue is, it should be as a result of that man's persuasion or action that is preventing Beatrice from doing her normal marital obligation. So it shouldn't be like the connection is from elsewhere. So if solely through that person's persuasion or other things, Beatrice is now not sleeping in the house, performing her marital obligations too, you can also bring enticement too. But to add to cheating, I know this happens a lot, but cheating is not an offense. But it doesn't warrant people going out cheating. So just to add to it.
I want to add to the rights and obligations because of what people are thinking they have a right to, and so it can be at any time, which is sexual intercourse. People construe the vows that are taken or the agreement to marry a person as a lifetime consent to sex.
Mm.
And so, see, my gender, we are guilty. Yes.
Yeah.
And they think that at any time, any point when he wants it, then he has to get it. An example is given of, I think I posted it on my status some time ago, where a man said he wanted to be spontaneous, rushed to the woman's office and said, lock the door. And then he started undressing. The woman was saying that, no, let's go home. He said, no. He wanted to force himself on the woman. And then the woman also shouted. And then some people opened the door. They came to see the man naked. And then the man just took his ring and threw
You won't do
it
it again.
Yes, he's not marrying again.
That would disgrace me. And I'm thinking that he is thinking that he's fortified by the seeming truth that consent to marry is consent to sex.
That's right.
It is not.
Mm.
It is not. You know, it used to be in our Criminal Offences Act. It used to be there. No, it's the Criminal Offences and Criminal and Other Offences Act. That is the procedure, Act 30, where you're talking about, no, I think it's Act 29.
Act 29.
Act 29, where you're talking about consent. It used to be there, but it has been taken out. There's a history behind that, but we'll talk about that later. It's been taken out. So now consent can be revoked. Even when you are almost there, she says, stop. Whatever you do afterwards is rape. That is why there is marital rape now.
You know, Prince. I think we should come back for a part 2. There are a lot of questions on my mind, and I don't think I can exhaust everything in this episode. So there is going to be a part 2, and viewers, at least I hope you have enjoyed the preliminaries of this discussion. I know you have more questions to ask. This is a very interesting topic. And so I want you to stay tuned. Join us next week for part 2 on marriages and the law of marriages in Ghana.